Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a Church Guys Sports Show, another edition for your go-to for straight talk about sports, debates, truth, and what's happening in the world of professional sports and pro wrestling. I'm your host, Bishop D'Lo, and we've got plenty to unpack, starting with baseball. In New York, the storylines couldn't be more different. The New York Mets collapse is complete. What looked like a promising season for the Mets turned into an absolute disaster. They managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory and missed the postseason in epic fashion, losing to the Miami Marlins on the last day of the regular season. Mets fans, I feel your pain. But across town, the Yankees are preparing and have kicked off now at 6 p.m. the postseason, and looking against their greatest rival, the Boston Red Sox, in the wild card round. We're going to ask the big question: what do the Bronx Bombers need to do not only to win this game, but to fight all the way back to the World Series? On the hardwood, the NBA preseason is here, and the Knicks will be opening things up in Abu Dhabi for the Abu Dhabi games starting this Thursday at 12 noon Eastern time. It's a fresh start with new leadership, new expectations, and the weight of the Eastern Conference spotlight on their shoulders. Over to the NFL, the Jets have crashed out of the gate. They are 0-4, and new coach Aaron Glenn did not hold back after his team lost on Monday night against the Miami Dolphins. He ripped his team, and is there any hope left for the Jets season? Meanwhile, the Giants did manage to pull off their first win of the season in shocking fashion with an upset win, giving their fans at least a little something to smile about going into week number 5. And finally, in the world of professional wrestling, the fallout from WrestlePalooza is still hot. And on top of that, the road to Crown Jewel is heating up. But let's be real. Friday night, that women's championship match on SmackDown. Whoo! Huge botch, huge mistake. Somebody messed up. We're going to talk about it. And it has fans asking all about it. So buckle up. Baseball, basketball, football, and wrestling all coming your way tonight. It's a full plate. We're on the Church Guys Sports Show podcast, and it starts right now.
The Church Guys! We're live on the podcast. A Church Guys Sports Show. Yo, welcome to the show where the faith meets the court. Church guys repping hard, yeah, we live for the sport. From the pulpit to the bleachers, the word we endorse. Dropping dimes, preaching truth, keeping God as the source. We breaking down the play, stats, facts, and the story. Sunday to game day, all for his glory. Talking hoops, talking fields, every touchdown is shot. But we never lose sight of the faith that we got is fellowship, fire. Passion in the zone, Church Guys Sports Show. Yeah, you know we at home. Turn the volume up loud, let the good vibes flow. This is more than just a game, it's the way that we grow. The Church Guys. We're live on the podcast. A Church Guys Sports Show. The Church Guys. We're live on the podcast. A Church Guys Sports Show. From the locker room talk to the pews on a Sunday, we call the plays right, kingdom business on Monday. Faith on the field, spirit driving the grind. Every headline we drop got the word intertwined. We repping every team, but the banner is Christ. Breaking huddles with the gospel, yeah, we living it right. From the Knicks to the league, every stat, every score. We gon' praise, analyze, then we give God more. So tune in, locked in, let the truth be shown. Church Guys Sports Show, man, the vibe's full grown. It's the faith in the game and a powerful blend. From the tip off to the buzzer, we gon' ride to the end. The Church Guys. We're live on the podcast.
What up? What up? What's going on? It's your boy Bishop D'Lo. We're here, you're there, and you're watching the Church Guys Sports Show podcast for the 30th of September, last day of September 2025. We're here, you're there, ready to talk some sports with you. As I said in our opening, we got a lot to unpack tonight. Very quickly, in the world of baseball, give you the scoreboard. The Cubs over the Padres 3-1 in game one of their wild card series. The Detroit Tigers beat the Cleveland Guardians 2-1 in game one of theirs. And in the game that we actually care about here on this show, Red Sox lead the Yankees at the stadium 2-1. That game is in the top of the seventh inning with 2 outs there. So the Yankees struggling a little bit at home in game one. What's up, Kevin Darnell Lewis Sr.? Yes, let's go Yankees. Let's go Yankees. What's going on, everybody? We're here, Church Guys Sports Show. What you didn't hear me mention is the New York Mets, who are not playing. Unfortunately, the New York Mets finished their epic collapse. An epic collapse. On June 12th, the New York Mets were 45-24. They were 21 games over 500 on the 12th of June. Bless you, Bishop Heflin. They were 45-24, and they slowly, for the last 3 months of the season, collapsed, culminating with a loss on Sunday. And the worst part is they had their own destiny in their hands. They had their own destiny in their hands. The Reds had lost, and all the Mets had to do was to beat the lowly Miami Marlins, a team that only won something like 69 games this year. A team that only won 69 games. They were supposed to beat the Marlins. If they had beaten the Marlins, they would have been in the postseason, and they wet the bed, losing 4-0 on the last day of the regular season to eliminate them and allow the Cincinnati Reds into the postseason in their place. Again, top of the seventh, 2 outs. Red Sox lead the Yankees 2-1 as they play the top of the seventh inning from Yankee Stadium. Bishop Heflin says, let's go Guardians. I know that's our Ohio man right there. Blessings to you. I'm hoping that you guys can get it done, even though they did lose game one to Detroit tonight at home, this afternoon at home 2-1. So we got to talk about this epic collapse of the New York Mets. The Mets have the second highest payroll in baseball, behind the LA Dodgers. $340 million allocated for salaries this season alone. They signed Juan Soto away from the New York Yankees to the richest annual valued contract in sports history. Soto, who's not even a plus outfielder, is getting paid more annually than Shohei Ohtani. Who is probably one of the best two-way players if not the best two-way player in all of baseball. He's getting paid more than him. They didn't want to pay Pete Alonso at the beginning of the year, who signed a 1-year deal to stay with them. He played very well this season. Francisco Lindor, they've got hitters up and down that Mets lineup, but their pitching went south in the second half of the season, and it caused them to collapse, and it was a slow collapse. I mean, the Mets slowly, you had moments where they would lose 14 out of 17, then they would win 8 in a row, then they'd lose another 12 out of 15, then they win 6 in a row. But all in all, they could not keep up with the charging Reds at that time, from Cincinnati, who were able to move up, overtake them, and take that third and final wild card spot in the National League. And so, as it stands, the Mets are home, and the Reds got in. And who's to blame? I did see that Steve Cohen, the owner of the New York Mets, was very apologetic. He issued a statement apologizing to the fans for what happened, apologizing for how poorly things went this season, and how he has bigger expectations, and they didn't meet the expectations of himself or even the team at large. But that's not enough. He's got to understand that spending that kind of money, you would have been better served with that Juan Soto money rather than getting him shoring up your bullpen. Everybody thought that when Soto walked from the Yankees that the Yankees were dead. But kudos to Brian Cashman. He went out and got Cody Bellinger. He went out and got the closer from Milwaukee, Devin Williams, he went out and got pieces and players. They went to their farm system and brought up Ryan McMahon, who's been a great utility infielder for them. They found a revelation in Trent Grisham, who finally got the opportunity to play. Aaron Judge had another amazing regular season. Now, he's going to have to show what he has in the postseason. We got a lot to unpack about that, but at least they were able to retool after losing Soto and didn't miss a beat. In fact, the Yankees actually finished tied for the AL East. Unfortunately, because the Blue Jays owned the tiebreaker, which was head-to-head competition, beating the Yankees out in head-to-head, they were able to win the division over the Yankees. Otherwise, the Yankees would have had a bye this week into the American League Division Series. But unfortunately, they did have to play this evening. And as I said, they're playing right now, currently trailing 2-1 as that game, I believe, now goes yes, to the bottom of the sixth inning. Red Sox leading 2-1. Max Fried on the mound for the New York Yankees, and he has pitched well tonight. Max Fried has been very good. Boston has 2 runs on 6 hits today. It looks like basically they got their runs in the 7th inning. They got both runs in the 7th inning. Yankees were leading 1-0. The 1 run, an Anthony Volpe home run. I think that was big for Anthony Volpe, who has been much maligned this season. First of all, I got to talk about Anthony Volpe for a second. Anthony Volpe has the unenviable job of being the next shortstop of the future. And that's a big deal because essentially he is replacing Derek Jeter. I know Jeter's been retired for a little while now, but essentially Volpe is replacing Derek Jeter as far as being the Yankee face at one of their important positions, which is shortstop, being another homegrown talent. And so the comparisons, they're really not fair to Volpe. Everybody's not going to be Derek Jeter. Everybody can't be Derek Jeter. And so it's going to be hard for Volpe to even get into a place to where he'll even be comfortable playing that position for the long term for the Yankees. And he struggled mightily this year. So him hitting that home run was huge. But the Yankees need to rally as they go into the bottom half of the 7th inning. Again, trailing 2-1. The Yankees really got to get it done today. Aaron Judge does have a hit today. He's 1 for 3. Paul Goldschmidt has a hit. He's 1 for 3. Anthony Volpe's home run. Those are the only 3 hits for the Yankees. The lineup has been a little rough today in terms of getting things done. Not understanding this lineup. Again, the analytics for me is a big problem because you've got your second baseman. Your second baseman is Jazz Chisholm. Why are you starting Ahmed Rosario? You need bats in the lineup, and you don't lose anything with Jazz at second. Again, whose idea was this? Then you have Paul Goldschmidt leading off. Why is Paul Goldschmidt leading off? He's an old first baseman with bad wheels. Aaron Judge is hitting second. Cody Bellinger's hitting third. That's fine. Stanton's hitting fourth. Then you've got Rosario hitting 5th, and Trent Grisham, who's been one of your best bats, hitting 6th. He struck out twice today. Volpe's hitting 7th. Austin Wells, your catcher, is hitting 8th. And you've got Caballero, who's playing third base tonight, and he's batting 9th. I mean, this is not the lineup, I think, that you put out for the opening game of the playoffs. This is not that lineup. I just don't see it. Y'all jump in the comments. You tell me what you think. Do me a favor. I need y'all, as we're getting into this conversation tonight, I need you to like, share, tag, and comment. Looks like I'm flying solo for the night. So it's me and it's you tonight. It's me and it's you. It's me and you guys, the fans. We want to talk to you tonight. Let's get into it tonight on tonight's show. Again, Church Guys Sports Show podcast. We invite you to share this live. Share it. Hit that share button. Share it on your timeline. Share it with somebody as we get into this. Again, moving back to the New York Mets and the issues that they had this season. The Mets, man, what can you say about the New York Mets? What can you say about this epic collapse? Again, on June 12th, best record in baseball. June 12th. Almost halfway through the season. June 12th, best record in baseball. 69 games in, best record in baseball. And over the next 93 games, Yeah, the next 93 games, they were absolutely awful. Over the next 93 games, they were absolutely awful. And that really is an indictment. And, I think wholesale changes have to be made. I really wish Willie Green was on. He said something online the other day that I thought was very funny, but also very poignant and true to a certain degree. He said, until the Mets do right by Willie Randolph, they're never going to be successful again. I was watching a story. I was watching the podcast where Matt Barnes was interviewing Darryl Strawberry, talking about his days with the Mets, and Darryl talked about how passionate Met fans are. And when you think about it, and Darryl mentioned it, the last Met championship was 1986. Anthony West, what's up, my brother? What's going on? Yeah, that was the season right there. Their pitching really destroyed them this year, Ant. I mean, it was absolutely bad. An epic collapse. The Mets were terrible down the stretch. And honestly, of a truth, they really should have fell out of it a long time ago. The Reds kept trying to give it to them because, quite honestly, the Reds weren't much better. And it still came down to the last game of the regular season. When all the Mets had to do was win against a 69-win Marlin team. That's all they had to do. And they got shut out on the last day of the regular season 4-0. Last day of the regular season, they got shut out. But, tell me what you guys think in the comments of what the Mets need to do in order to turn things around and get better going into the 2026 season. A lot of memes out there taking shots at Juan Soto. Longer off season. It's funny. Soto played in Washington. He played in San Diego. He played for the Yankees for 1 year, and he never missed the postseason. His first year with the Mets, after signing that huge contract, he misses the postseason. So what does that tell you? It doesn't always pay to go for the money. It doesn't always pay to go for the money. Because, your pockets are rich, but who knows if he'll ever play for a championship again? Who knows if he'll ever get back to the playoffs or the World Series? But the Mets definitely need to do some retooling. Ant says, typical Mets fashion. Yeah, the collapses have been regular for quite some time now. And this year was no different. Last year was their best opportunity when they got into the LCS and losing to the Dodgers. We were basically a series away from having a Subway Series last year. And this is where things... And I agree, Ann. He said hitting is okay. They scored runs, but they gave up more runs. True. You got Soto. You got Pete Alonso. You got you got Francisco Lindor. You got some guys that can mash over there in terms of hitting. But if your pitchers can't shut anybody down, if your bullpen can't hold a lead, what does it matter? If you're going to give up runs, if you're not going to win close games, it just doesn't matter. But now things get interesting for the Mets because Pete Alonso did return on a 1-year deal. Pete Alonso, right after the game on Sunday, declared that he is going to test free agency. He has declared that he is going to test free agency. Wouldn't it be crazy if after all of this, the Yankees swoop in during the offseason and pay Pete Alonso? And Pete Alonso goes across the river to play for the New York Yankees? Would that not be crazy? Bishop Butler says he'll be on shortly. I'm here, bro. I'm holding it down. Wouldn't it be absolutely crazy if Pete Alonso were to sign a deal to play for the New York Yankees and become the Yankees' first baseman of the future? I mean, no, taking nothing away from Paul Goldschmidt, who is an excellent Gold Glove award-winning defensive first baseman, but he's not the hitter that he once was. They moved to the 8th inning. Yankees go quietly in the 7th. Top of the 8th inning, Yankees are 6 outs away from going down 1-0. Red Sox lead 2-1 in the 8th of the AL Wild Card Series Game 1. Now, the way the Wild Card works is it is a best-of-3 series, and all games are played at the home of the higher seed, so there is no travel. The Red Sox are here for at most 3 games. You've got to win 2 out of 3. So, the Yankees need to win tonight and put the Red Sox on notice. The Red Sox, however, if they win and win tomorrow, the series is over. However, if they split games 1 and 2, the third and final game would be played on Friday. The third and final game, on Thursday. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we move on to the division series over the weekend. As I said, they now go to the 8th inning. Trevor Story at the plate for the Boston Red Sox, and he is facing, I believe Max Fried is still in the game for the Yankees. Let me just take a real quick look. No, Fried is out of the game. Luke Weaver, Devin Williams is in the game. Devin Williams is in the game. The Yankee closer is in the game. I don't know. Analytically, I just don't understand what's going on. I being someone who played the game of baseball, played it at a high level, and good to see you as always, brother. Always good to see you, brother. As a guy who played the game at a high level and understands the nuances of the game of baseball, I will never understand why analytics has become such a big part of the game of baseball. I don't get it. I absolutely cannot wrap my head around it. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Why do you think analytics has pretty much taken over sports? It's prevalent in baseball. It's prevalent in basketball. The Boston Celtics were one of those big analytic teams. We're going to talk about the Knicks in a moment. I want to talk about one particular comment that new head coach Mike Brown made during one of his interviews the other day during training camp. We're going to talk about the Knicks in just a minute, but I just thought it's very interesting just how analytical sports has gotten. Sports is so analytical now, and as a person who played the game and played it at a high level, there is still no substitute, at least in my estimation, there is still no substitute for feel of the game. There is still no substitute for being within the throws, between the lines, and having to navigate each and every situation, each and every at-bat in baseball, each and every pitch in basketball, each and every play up and down court, especially late in games. Having the strategy has always been there, and I understand the idea and the importance of maybe having to utilize analytics to understand tendencies, but I can't wrap my head around this idea of allowing analytics to make the decisions for me as a coach or as a manager. I can't. It will never make sense to me how or why analytics or teams that are so analytic driven, and especially in baseball, because when we look at the way analytics drives baseball, Billy Beane and his Moneyball that happened out in Oakland all those years ago, they made a whole big movie about it, and all that is wonderful. But at the end of the day, the Oakland A's never won anything. The Oakland A's never won anything. So how successful really was Moneyball, as they called it, and analytic-driven baseball? How successful has it been really? Because when I look at the teams that have won the World Series over the past several years, yeah, they have some analytics, but they've got really good managers who are good baseball people. Even the Red Sox, Alex Cora is an excellent baseball manager. And this is one of those things that if I have to choose, and this is why I felt like this series was dangerous for the Yankees. This Red Sox-Yankees series in the playoffs was dangerous for the Yankees because Alex Cora is actually a good baseball manager. Aaron Boone is not. Because Aaron Boone, even in the throes of playoffs, is still trusting the analytics over the eye test. And I'll tell you, as a guy who has coached baseball, who still currently coaches basketball, played both games, like I said, at a high level, nothing beats the eye test. The analytics don't mean nothing when you're in the throes of a game. I can tell what's going to happen by what's happening on the court or what's happening on the field. I can see when a pitcher is fearful on the field. I know tendency-wise, the analytics would tell me I was a leadoff hitter when I played baseball for my Sandlot team. I batted third in high school, but I was the leadoff hitter for my Sandlot team because I was very fast, and I still hold the Parade Ground League record for stolen bases in Double ABC in New York, and that's a great accolade that I still hold a record for. I won the MVP award of the American Legion tournament that year. I had a lot of great moments, I'll say, as a player. And the analytics would say that as a leadoff hitter, I should take the first pitch. But there were plenty of times where the eye test told me this guy's going to throw me a fastball down the middle. I'm not taking a first pitch strike. And every single time I relied on my instincts rather than what the analytics would have told me to do, I was always successful. Where are the guys who are willing to push back? But I get it. We're in a different age now. Managers are not allowed to manage. The computers and the geeks with computers are the ones managing the team. They're the ones putting out the lineups every week. All of this is happening, and it's absolutely mind-boggling to me. It's absolutely mind-boggling that through all of this, and with all of this, that these things are still yet happening. Red Sox have loaded the bases with nobody out. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the bottom of the eighth. My fault. I'm sorry. It's the bottom of the eighth. Is it? Wait, what's happening? It just says the eighth, no outs. Refresh. What's happening here? I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to see what's going on. Cincinnati will take on the Dodgers at 9 p.m. in the other wild card series that is going on as we are in the bottom half of the eighth inning. We are in the bottom half of the eighth inning now. Trent Grisham is up for the Yankees. Where is my play-by-play cast? There we go. Here we are. Garrett Crochet in for the Red Sox to now pitch the bottom of the eighth for them. Strike one on Trent Grisham as he leads off the bottom of the eighth for the New York Yankees. Tonight, again, Yankees trail 2-1. They're in the bottom of the eighth inning at Yankee Stadium. Yankees, Red Sox going forward here. Game one of the AL wildcard series, of the first AL wildcard series, of the second AL wildcard series. I'm sorry. Game one of the other series has already been played. Guardians lose to the Detroit Tigers by a count of 3-1. So again, jump in the comments. Tell us what you think. What do you guys feel about what's going on in the world of professional baseball right now? What are the things that are happening? What are the things that you guys feel are happening in the world of professional baseball? How do you feel about what potentially will be the Yankee or the Met run this year as lefty Gavin Crochet pitches to Trent Grisham? Count now 2-2 on Grisham as they continue with this at bat. Nobody out in the bottom of the eighth inning. And Grisham is up. Grisham strikes out swinging. One out in the bottom of the eighth. The Yankees down to their final 5 outs. As we shift gears away from the diamond, we'll give you some more score. We'll give you the score again shortly. But as we shift gears away from the diamond, we got to talk about the NFL. So it's football time. Share this live out. Let people know that we're about to talk a little football before we get into it. The Jets are having an awful time to start the season. New head coach Aaron Glenn now has an 0-4 team. The Jets are 0-4. And I just don't even know what to say. There were very high hopes. I know I had high hopes for the Jets. David Wright came on here and predicted the Jets would go 13-4, which I thought was a little bit crazy. But it's been a case of same old Jets so far this season. Another brutal loss. And Aaron Glenn rips his team in the locker room. He's very disappointed with the performances. The Jet defense has not been good this year. The offense has been okay. I mean, when you think about it, other than the game against Buffalo, where they got completely outclassed, Buffalo is in another planet, where they beat the Jets 30-3. Buffalo is Buffalo. They're one of the cream of the crop in the yes, prayers up for the cheetah as well. Absolutely, Sam. But New York Jets coach Aaron Glenn ripped into his team so loudly, they said, reports say, in the locker room following the 27-21 loss to Miami, that reporters could hear what he was saying. And it was a choose your negative adjective type of game for the Jets. The Jets were sloppy. They were ugly. They were careless. They were awful. And Glenn said it's very disappointing. And there's no way you can win in any game in the NFL with 13 penalties and 3 turnovers. This is what he said at the podium afterward. It just can't happen. And Aaron Glenn was justified in ripping his team. The Jets have been absolutely terrible. The Jets have been terrible. Absolutely terrible. The Jets are now 0-4 for the first time since Adam Gase's team started 0-4 in 2020. It started with a Braylon Allen fumble that muddled what was an excellent drive, and things just unraveled from there. The Jets lost 3 turnovers. Right now, the Jets have the worst turnover margin in the NFL. They are -7. They were called for 13 penalties for 101 yards. The defense missed tackles. They left receivers doing whatever they wanted to do. The Jets secondary is absolutely awful. The Jets secondary is absolutely awful. And I just don't even know what to say at this point about the Jets secondary. What needs to be done? I mean, and new coach Aaron Glenn, they've had some moments, and he talked big, but it just has not translated. It just has not translated. The Jets have been awful. The Jets have been awful. The Jets have absolutely been awful this year. And with the Jets being as bad as they've been this year, there really isn't much else left to say where it comes to that. The Jets, I mean, what are you going to do? Do you fire the coach 4 games in? Is it on the coach? But I mean, the coach is the coach. I mean, and quite again, the Jet offense has not been terrible, but the Jet defense has been awful. The Jet defense is giving up an average of 30 points a game. You can't win like that. Not in the NFL. Maybe you can get away with that in college if you can outscore somebody, because college football games are a shootout. They're a shootout. But you're not getting a shootout in the NFL. And the Jets have been bad. Going to the other team that occupies the Meadowlands, the New York Giants. The New York Giants did win this past Sunday, stunning the Los Angeles Chargers 21-18. Huge win. Jackson Dart was impressive in his debut, leading the Giants to the victory. Unfortunately, they did lose in that game as well. They lost Malik Neighbors for the season to an ACL tear. Unfortunate for the young kid who is well on his way to a terrific season and a terrific NFL career. Prayers up for Malik Neighbors, hoping that he will recover and be able to return next season. But the Giants and Jackson Dart, he shined in that win over the Chargers, and it has the Giants fans saying that the future is now. He was great. Rookie pass rusher Abdul Carter was fantastic for the Giants as well. And the Giants are really showing that, a lot of their young players are ready to step up, ready to do what it takes and what's necessary in order to try to make them a contender. Now, again, the caveat to that is, and I will always say it, the Giants play in the toughest division in all of professional football. They are in the NFC East, where you've got the Eagles, you've got the Commanders. As bad as they are sometimes, you still got the Cowboys, and the rivalries in that division are still top tier. But the Giants look like they might be able to hold their own. Jackson Dart's career as a starter got off to a great beginning. He led Big Blue on an 89-yard touchdown drive in 9 plays that was capped by a 15-yard rushing score for himself. He became the first quarterback since Patrick Mahomes to lead his team on an 80-plus yard TD drive on the first possession of his career. That's pretty big deal. The only 2 players in the NFL who have ever done that, and one of them is Patrick Mahomes. So I'm not saying that Jackson Dart is going to be Patrick Mahomes, but that's pretty good company to be in. He was 13 of 20 for 111 yards with a touchdown. He did get sacked 5 times, but a few of those sacks were definitely due to a lack of experience and understanding, get rid of the ball. Hey, Deb. Listen, the Cowboys tell Jerry Jones to stop doing your Cowboys. Your owner is your biggest problem in Dallas. Your owner is your biggest problem. So, the Cowboys are the Cowboys. But again, great job by Jackson Dart. Dart's ability to avoid the pass rush was great. He's a lot more mobile than Russell Wilson is in this point. He's able to make plays on the move, and that's very helpful. This is quite honestly a league now in NFL where edge rushers, they're not big brute guys anymore. Like, if you look at edge rushers now, they're using smaller, faster, more compact guys as edge rushers in the NFL. So quarterbacks have to be mobile now. You have to be a mobile quarterback. You cannot be a stand-in-the-pocket passer. It's not going to work in today's NFL. You've got to be, if you're a quarterback who can't move, unless you've got the greatest offensive line in the history of offensive lines, you're not going to last in the NFL. You're not going to last in the NFL. Because these edge rushers are faster than they ever have been. It's going to be absolutely nuts trying to stay away from these guys. It is. Deb says that he should let his son take over. He need to let somebody take over because, he has run the Cowboy organization into the ground. Jerry Jones has run the Cowboy organization into the ground. Excuse me. All this talking I'm doing, I had to take a little drink. But back to the Giants and just the NFL in general. The NFL has changed now to the point to where if you're going to be a quality team, you need a mobile quarterback. You need a quarterback who can move, who can get out of the pocket, who can make plays with his legs. He doesn't necessarily even have to be the fastest quarterback, but they've got to be a smart enough quarterback to know when to get out of the pocket and when to buy themselves time or buy their receivers time downfield to get open. And quite honestly, Russell Wilson wasn't going to be that. And I get the idea initially was to kind of bring Jackson along slowly, but it just doesn't work at this point. It just doesn't work. It wasn't going to be anything that was going to be okay. That's right, Sam. Quarterbacks have to get the ball out of their hands in 3 seconds or less, or they've got to get out of the pocket. Or they've absolutely got to get out of the pocket. And that's where the problem comes in, because unfortunately, where the league is now, where the league is now with these edge rushers being smaller and faster, if you don't get rid of it or if you don't have the ability to make plays with your legs, you're gonna get killed back there. You're gonna get killed, and you're gonna cost your team games just by taking sacks. That's simply where it is. That's simply what it is now in the NFL. That's simply what's going on, and there really isn't much else that needs to be said with regards to that. So the Jets fall to 0-4. The Giants improve to 1-3 as we continue to look at things. Bottom of the 8th, runner on first for the Yankees. New pitcher on for the Red Sox. Red Sox still leading 2-1. Who's at the plate for the Bombers right now? Juan Caballero is at the plate for the Yankees. The 9th-place hitter is at the plate right now against Boston closer Aroldis Chapman. Now, Aroldis Chapman throws over 100 miles an hour. We know that. But Aroldis Chapman is prone to give up the long ball. So it'll be interesting to see him now pitching here in the Bronx against the Yankees. Obviously, I'd rather have Judge up here against Aroldis Chapman, power versus power, but we'll see what happens. 1-1 to count now on Caballero. As again, bottom of the 8th, Yankees with a runner on first, 2 out. Red Sox leading 2-1. Closer Aroldis Chapman on for the Red Sox as we continue here on a Church Guys Sports Show. For tonight, it's Bishop D'Lo. I'm flying solo tonight. Bishop L said he was on his way on. Willie Green is at a meeting. Not sure what Bishop J-Mac is, but we're here. We're still having a great conversation. Here in the comments, just finished talking a little bit of football. Now as we shift gears again. Shifting gears again to the world of professional basketball. The NBA is back. The NBA is back. As you know, the New York Knicks, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Brooklyn Nets, and the New Orleans Pelicans all reported for training camp last week due to the fact that they'll be playing out of the country this week. And all of the rest of the NBA teams reported today for their media days. So media days in the NFL, and I'm sorry, the NBA was there. Yes, Sam says Sam. That is the same Aroldis Chapman that did play for the New York Yankees. That is the same Aroldis Chapman that was our closer with the Yankees for many years. He is now the closer for the Boston Red Sox. And being that now 3 balls and a strike, 3-1 to count. I'm sorry, 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 balls and a strike to Juan Caballero as he bats for the Yankees in the bottom of the 8th. But the NBA is back. Preseason actually begins. Disengagement violation, not exact. Catcher's interference. Catcher's interference, strike 2 on Caballero. Volpe now moves to second base. So a base hit can tie the game. A base hit can tie the game for Caballero. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count there on Caballero as he bats there. I'm not even sure why they didn't go to a pinch hitter here. But I mean, he is a really good defensive third baseman, but I don't know. I just feel like you need runs. You need runs. You got to put a bat up there that's going to be able to do something in a moment like this. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I'm going to get back to talking about the NBA in a second as soon as this at bat is over. He fouls off the pitch there. Still 2-1. Still 2-2 the count as he fouls off a pitch that was in the strike zone. So way to get the bat on the ball, Juan. A third baseman for the New York Yankees. A base hit will tie it. Anthony Volpe on second. Aroldis Chapman pitching for the Red Sox right now. But back to the New York Knicks. The Knicks are in a position where Thursday they will play in Abu Dhabi. They arrived in Abu Dhabi on Sunday, preparing for their 2 games they will play in the Abu Dhabi games versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Interesting, a Philadelphia 76er team that has Tyrese Maxey. They are getting back Jared McCain. And Caballero flies out to right. That ends the inning. And they will go to the 9th. Yankees trail 2-1. Steve Bednar coming in for the Yankees, trailing 2-1 as they get ready to play the 9th inning. Top of the 9th. Red Sox leading 2-1. Philly is coming off of what was a crash and burn season. Philly's season last year was absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. Such high hopes with Tyrese Maxey, with Joel Embiid, with Podcast P, Paul George, and they were absolutely terrible. George barely played. Embiid was hurt. Maxey ended up getting hurt. Jared McCain had a torn MCL 23 games into the season. He was lost for the season. And from what I'm hearing, he may have a torn UCL this year. So one of the bright spots for the Philadelphia 76ers last year, aside from Gershon Yabusele, who now plays for the New York Knicks, was also former New York Knick Quentin Grimes, who they acquired in a trade with the Dallas Mavericks. Here's the thing, though, now. Grimes is a restricted free agent, and there is a lot of talk back and forth. He has not signed. So they are in Abu Dhabi without Quentin Grimes. They have offered Quentin Grimes an $8.7 million one-year qualifying offer. Grimes is looking for anywhere from a $17 to $21 million a year multi-year deal to stay with Philly. And so they're at a standoff. Philly, I understand why they're holding off with wanting to pay Grimes because honestly, yeah, he averaged 23 points a game while he was there, but he did it during a time where, their big guys were out. So, and the season was pretty much over. It was a lost season. They weren't playing for anything. But they want to see. Now, Grimes, I understand why he wants to get paid because, it becomes, well, look at what I did once I got here. Not to mention, I played in New York. I played in Dallas. I played on contending teams and was a key part of their rotations. So why wouldn't you want to pay me? So now here's the thing. He wants starter money on a team where he wouldn't start. Because as it stands right now, the Philly starting lineup, if they're healthy, the Philly starting lineup would be Maxey, McCain, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, and Joel Embiid. That is the Philly starting five. So if I'm Philly, I understand. I'm not paying you $21 million to come off my bench. You want starters' money to come off the bench. I'm not paying you starters' money to come off the bench. Now, again, you don't know what you're going to get from Paul George. You don't know what Jared McCain's going to look like this year. And if the reports are true and he has a torn UCL, he might be out again. So they might end up having to pay for Quentin Grimes. But if I'm Grimes, you're 24 years old. Take the qualifying offer. You still haven't hit your prime yet. You're in your 5th year in the league. You still haven't hit your prime yet. You've played meaningful minutes for important teams in both the Eastern and Western Conference. Take the $9 million this year, ball out, and then go somewhere next year where a team is going to have to pay you starter money and give you starter minutes. That's what I would do. Because at the end of the day, $9 million is not anything to sneeze at. $9 million is not nothing to sneeze at. But again, I'm not a multi-million-dollar athlete. I get it. I understand the way I feel about it. People may not necessarily care. But I think that as a professional athlete, I think sometimes you have to look at the market that you're in and look what the market is at your position. Number one, you're a restricted free agent, which means you can go someplace else and get a deal. Here's the telling sign. You're a restricted free agent, and no one has attempted to sign you away from Philly. You don't have a $17 million offer anyplace else, which tells me that you are overvaluing yourself because there clearly is not a market for what you think you bring to the table. There isn't a market. If there was a market for it, then Philly would have paid you. But there isn't a market. And I use the Jeremy Lin situation all those years ago with the Knicks. There was a deal on the table. The Knicks offered him what they thought he was worth. He was ready to take that deal. And then the Houston Rockets came in and blew the Knicks out of the water with a deal where its 3rd year was at $15 million a year. And so the Knicks did not match it and let him walk. Clearly, that's not happening with Quentin Grimes. And again, we're in a very different NBA than it was back then because most teams at this point are cash strapped. So the money that you think is out there, Quentin Grimes, really is not. Everybody is over the first apron, and most teams are near the second apron. And the teams that are not at the first apron, the Charlotte Hornets of the world, the Washington Wizards of the world, they're not teams you want to play for. That's number one. And number two, they're not gonna spend their money on you. They're not gonna spend their money on you. You are not somebody that they are interested in. I hate to break it to you, Q Grimes. I like Quentin Grimes. I do. I think that he is an excellent player. I think that, Quentin Grimes has what it takes to be a really solid NBA sixth man, really. He could be a starter as well on a decent team. But at the end of the day, you've got to remember, or Quentin Grimes has to remember, at the end of the day, you're looking for starters' money on a team that already has its starting lineup. And you, my friend, were in it by virtue of injury last year, but you're not going to be in that starting lineup this season. Not if everybody's healthy or close to being healthy. You're not going to be in that starting lineup. So you want to be a $21 million insurance policy. Nobody's going to do that. They're not going to pay $21 million for you to be an insurance policy. They'll pay you $9 million, But they're not going to pay you. They're going to take the qualifying offer, Q Grimes. Take the qualifying offer. I think that's common sense to me. What do y'all think about it? Put it in the comments. Do you think Quentin Grimes should take the qualifying offer from the Philadelphia 76ers and then try to play his way, ball out this year, and play his way to a better contract next year, either in Philly or someplace else? Or do you think he's right for holding out for between $17 and $21 million that he's looking for? They also told him that they want him to waive his no trade clause because Philly's trying to maintain flexibility. Because if they are healthy and they need to make a move later in the year, they want to have the flexibility to be able to trade him if need be. So y'all tell me, what do you think? Do you think that Quentin Grimes should continue to hold out, or should he take the money? Sound off for me in the comments. Y'all sound off in the comments. While y'all doing that, getting back to the New York Knickerbockers. Again, I've been saying it for a few weeks now. This is just weird for me as a Knicks fan to be going into a season as the favorite. I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm just so I have never been more excited for a season to start in a long. This is the first time in a long time where I've just been I'm ready to get the season started. I am so excited about this team. But that being said, after practices, and it's been nice to actually watch video of Nick practices for a change. They're actually practicing. It's been nice to watch that under new head coach Mike Brown. But along with that, Mike Brown said something very interesting to me that I kind of alluded to at the beginning of the broadcast, in that, he talked about changing up the offense and getting Brunson off the ball and, putting Cat in positions where he'll kind of be a point forward from time to time. Very innovative stuff. But one of the things he said that struck me is he's looking for about 43-point attempts per game. I don't know about that. And it's not that I don't think that the Knicks have shooters. I don't think that's it at all. I do think that the Knicks have shooters. As far as catch and shoot threes from the corner, they've got two of the best in OG Anunoby and in Mikal Bridges. Two of the best in the league at catch and shoot threes. Two of the best. So for me, I don't think it's an issue with them, doing that. That's not a problem for me. It's this analytical idea that you've got to put up more threes. The Knicks were a top 5 offense last year, despite being middle of the pack in three-point shooting. That tells you that there does not have to be an over-reliance on the three-point shot in order for you to be, quite honestly, one of the stronger teams in the league. They won 51 games last year without being a three-point juggernaut. Mind you, the Boston Celtics were the three-point juggernaut, and we knocked them out in the second round. I'm just a little wary of that. And again, maybe Mike Brown is right, but I just think, as a coach, I just want the best shot. Whether it's 2 or 3, I'm not going into a game or into a season with the mindset that we've got to take X amount of threes to be successful. Let's get the best shot. Let's play defense and let's get the best shot on offense. That's the way I look at things. Maybe I'm still maybe I am still living in the 90s and early 2000s. And I get that the game has evolved and changed from that regard, but I still think that that's the best way to play basketball. But again, they will tip it off on Thursday. 12 noon is the start time here in the United States, 12 noon Eastern time, start time in the United States. It'll be on NBA TV. I'm not sure if it'll be on the Madison Square Garden Network. I know I'll be attempting to tune in while I'm at work somehow. I'm at my phone propped up on my desk, trying to work while trying to get in some of this game and see how the new look New York Knickerbockers look as they play these 2 games in Abu Dhabi versus the Philadelphia 76ers. That being said, shifting gears to our final thing for tonight, talking about the WWE. So y'all do me a favor, for all you wrestling fans, send out the word now. We're about to talk some wrestling right now. Again, the fallout from WrestlePalooza continues. I'm not going to talk too much more about that pay-per-view. I'm sorry, premium live event. What I really want to get into was what happened on SmackDown this past Friday night. On Friday night, there was a triple threat match for the women's championship between champion Tiffany Stratton against Nia Jax and Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. And the match ended in very controversial fashion because we had a botch on a pin. So for those who did not see it, we were coming down to the culmination of the match where Jade hit Nia with a move and went into a pin. She was kicked off by Tiffany Stratton, and Stratton covered Nia Jax. The referee counted to 2, and I guess Nia was supposed to kick out, and she forgot to. Here's the problem, though. The ref stopped the count at 2, as if Nia had kicked out. Now, I'm a wrestling purist, and under the old regime, under Vince McMahon, the rules were simply this. If you botched a finish and you didn't kick out when you were supposed to, you lost, and we'll figure out how to fix it later. That was Vince's mindset. So the referee's responsibility under Vince, I don't know what the rules are now under Triple H, but under Vince, if the ref counted to 3, that was the result. And the match was over. And if you messed up, you got chewed out in the back, and then they would figure out how to, even if it meant a title change. That's the way it worked. And that way you were able to maintain a level of realism in it. And again, we know that essentially WWE is predetermined sport and all of that, and that's all well and good. But I've seen so many different reports online on whose fault it was. But I've got to say this, and this is the one thing. Red Sox now lead 3-1 as they play the... Oh, wow. As they get ready to go to the bottom of the ninth, Red Sox now lead 3-1 over the Yankees as they go to the bottom of the ninth. But for me, I just believe that it's more important to preserve the integrity of the show rather than try to explain this botch, which nobody from the WWE has come out and explained anything yet. And you know they're not going to do. Triple H is not going to say anything. But somebody needs to say something because this was a very bad botch. But the one thing I did want to share, and y'all got to stop this out there. How in the world can you blame Nia Jax, who wasn't even involved in the finish? I'm sorry, not Nia Jax, Jade Cargill, who wasn't even involved in the finish. Jade wasn't involved in the finish. How do you blame Jade and Jade was not involved in the finish? Jade, some say, well, Jade was supposed to pull a referee. No, that's not what was supposed to happen. Jade is a babyface. She's not going to pull the referee. That botch was between Tiffany, Nia, and the ref. Whoever botched it, it was not Jade Cargill. But y'all hate Jade Cargill so much. I don't get it. Why all the Jade Cargill hate? Because she looks good? Because she's an Amazon and a freak athlete? Because she's a Jamaican American woman? Black woman at that? What is with the Jade Cargill hate? Yeah, she's a little green. Yeah, there's still a lot of work that can be done with her. Absolutely true. But that botch was not on Jade. Jade had absolutely nothing to do with that botch. Y'all gotta stop. And I'm talking to the IWC, the internet wrestling community now. Y'all gotta stop with the hate on African... yeah, I'm going on a rant right now. You're hating on Jade Cargill as she gets closer to the championship run. Y'all hated on Bianca Belair saying that she was overbooked. Now she's been out for a while with an injury, So you can't hate on her anymore. Meanwhile, Tiffany Stratton has been awful. Don't you realize Tiffany Stratton keeps getting booked against the same people? She's either getting booked against Nia or against Jade because they seem to be the only people she can work with. Chelsea Green's on SmackDown. You would think they would have gave her a shot at the title. They moved Charlotte out of that, put her with Alexa Bliss. This is not by accident. They're trying to protect Tiffany Stratton, who is not good. She's not good in the ring. She's not good on the mic. The most she has going for her is she's a pretty blonde chick. And don't get me wrong, that the prettiest moonsault ever is a cool finisher. That's all she's got going for her. But y'all hating on Jade Cargill. You're hating on Nia Jax. You're hating on Bianca Belair. 3 women of color. Come on. IWC, do better. Crown Jewel is coming up in 10 days. Live from Perth, Australia. And I hope Stephanie Vaquer beats the absolute crap out of Tiffy. I hope that, but she's the blonde, and the woman from Chile who just won the women's heavyweight championship is probably not going to get put over. Triple H is probably going to put over Tiffy over Stephanie Vaquer, which I think would be absolute travesty. Speaking of which, I am not excited about Cody versus Seth. And I get it. They're trying to build it up, and I appreciate what they're trying to do. I am just not excited about Cody versus Seth. I'm not. I'm not excited about Cody versus Seth. Yankees put 2 on with nobody out. Cody Bellinger coming to the plate first and second, nobody out as they play the bottom of the 9th. Aroldis Chapman still in for the Boston Red Sox. The closer. Bellinger singles to right to center. Bases loaded. Nobody out for the Yankees. In Giancarlo Stanton coming to the plate. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Stanton is 0 for 3. 3 strikeouts tonight so far. We just get ready to get out of here, but I think we're going to stick around just a little while longer to see how this Yankee game turns out here as the Yankees and Red Sox play. Bases loaded, nobody out for the Yankees as Bellinger singles to left field, left center field. And the Yankees are playing station to station right now. Red Sox with a meeting at the mound. Yankees trying to rally. Giancarlo Stanton at the plate. Nobody warming for the Red Sox. Nobody warming for the Red Sox. Chapman to face Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton has 18 career postseason home runs. The first pitch, fouled off. Stanton was a little late on the high fastball from Chapman. It's going to be power versus power here as Chapman pitching to Stanton here. Bases loaded, nobody out, bottom of the 9th. Giancarlo Stanton at the plate. The 0-1 from Chapman. Cut on and missed. 0-2. Fastball down the middle, and Stanton just missed it. That fastball clocked at 101 miles an hour. Wow. Chapman to Stanton. 0-2. Stanton fouls it straight back. He was on that one. Fouls it straight back. 101 miles per hour on the fastball again. 0-2 to Stanton. The entire stadium is on their feet. Stanton calls time. Resets himself in the box. Chapman doesn't look flustered, but he's been in his position on this mound on the other side quite a few times. The 0-2 to Stanton. Chapman kicks and deals. Breaking ball, got him. 92-mile-an-hour slider strikes out Stanton. First out of the inning. Stanton goes down swinging on the splitter. On the splitter. Split finger fastball. Oh, the bottom dropped out of that one. Stanton way out in front there. Jazz Chisholm to the plate. Jazz has hit lefties pretty well. First pitch to Jazz, fouled off. Chapman now 16 pitches in. Red Sox lead 3-1, bottom of the ninth inning. Yankees threatening, bases loaded, 1 out. A single will tie it. The pitch. On the outside corner. That's a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. The 0-2 to Jazz. Fouled off. Back into the seats. We'll do it again. No balls. 2 strikes. Bases loaded. Bottom of the ninth. Red Sox lead 3-1. Game 1 of the best of 3 AL Wildcard Series. Max Fried started for the Yankees. Pitched 7 innings. Gave up 2 runs. Garrett Crochet started for the Sox, 7 innings, 1 run ball. Yankees only home run by Anthony Volpe. Yankees threatening. Here's the next 0-2 from Chapman. Breaking ball, skied to right. He makes the catch. And nobody goes. The throw was up the line. Jazz flies out, and the Yankees are down to their final out. He didn't test it. 2 outs. Bottom of the ninth. Yankees loaded the bases with nobody out. Giancarlo Stanton struck out. Jazz Chisholm flied to right. And now Trent Grisham, who is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, is the final hope for the New York Yankees. Chapman kicks and deals. High, ball 1. 101 mile an hour fastball from Chapman there. High to Trent Grisham, who's had an outstanding season. Although in his postseason debut, he has struggled. 0 for 3 tonight, 3 strikeouts. The 1-0. Cut on, fouled off. 100 mile an hour fastball there. Chapman now up to 21 pitches. It's a lot of pitches for game 1 for their closer. It'll be interesting to see what Chapman has left in the tank for the remainder of this series. He's throwing a lot of pitches here in game 1. The 1-1 to Grisham. High, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike to Trent Grisham. The 2-1. Breaking ball, strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 87 mile per hour slider there. Yankees down to their final strike. Bases loaded, 2 outs. A hit will tie it. An extra base hit will win it. 24th pitch from Chapman, getting ready to come to Trent Grisham. Cut on and miss, struck him out. Ball game over. Yankees lose 3-1. Yankees load the bases in the bottom of the ninth and don't get it done. So that's it. Red Sox go up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. Yankees and Red Sox will regroup and play again tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see if Aroldis Chapman, should there be another save situation in place, how much he'll have left in the tank for the Red Sox if it comes to that. But the Yankees load the bases in the ninth with nobody out and don't get a run across. That can't happen. That absolutely cannot happen. Aroldis Chapman strikes out Trent Grisham, who strikes out for the 4th time tonight. Yankees lose 3-1 and go down 1-0 in this best-of-3 tonight. So it's been great flying solo with you tonight. Thank you all for joining us on tonight. Shout out to Kevin Darnell Lewis, Bishop Greg Heflin. Shout out to Anthony West, my brother. Shout out to Bishop Robert Butler. Shout out to Deborah Garrison, Sam Jennings, and all of you who joined us tonight. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on the Church Guys Sports Show tonight. We'll see you next week on the Church Guys Sports Show. Until then, orange and blue skies. We'll talk to you soon.
The Church Guys. We're live on the podcast. A Church Guys Sports Show. Yo, welcome to the show where the faith meets the court. Church guys repping hard, yeah, we live for the sport. From the pulpit to the bleachers, the word we endorse. Dropping dimes, preaching truth, keeping God as the source. We breaking down the play, stats, facts, and the story. Sunday to game day, all for his glory. Talking hoops, talking fields, every touchdown is shot. But we never lose sight of the faith that we got is fellowship, fire, passion in the zone. Church guys sports show, yeah, you know we at home. Turn the volume up loud, let the good vibes flow. This is more than just a game, it's the way that we grow. The Church Guys. We're live on the podcast. A Church Guys Sports Show. The Church Guys. We're live on the podcast. A Church Guys Sports Show. From the locker room talk to the pews on a Sunday, we call the plays right, kingdom business on Monday. Faith on the field, spirit driving the grind. Every headline we drop got the word intertwined. We repping every team, but the